Well, comes the weekend, and like a bad penny, Michael Snyder makes his appearance. Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Hi, Alex. I like to think of myself more as a bad dollar.
As a bad dollar.
It's inflation, man.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you become more expensive as the years are going on.
So, anyway, I'm on the left coast. Yes, I am. I was left out here, and it's hot. It's summertime. How are things in New York?
It's hot, and it's going to be hotter this weekend. So
I don't want to get too desk chatty or chit chatty, but I did note that they're shooting another season of Mozart in the Jungle around your place.
Of course, because I told you so.
I know. I'm kind of excited. I really like that movie, and it becomes relevant.
A series. It's a series.
Yeah, well, excuse me. I'm thinking about the movie that the lead ingenue in Mozart in the Jungle co-stars in, and we'll talk about that in a minute or two. But should we get to the movies that are opening this weekend?
Yes, certainly.
Straight out of Compton. Okay. I'm sure you remember the immortal words, "Life ain't nothing but bitches and money," from the classic tune Gangsta Gangsta, off the first album by the groundbreaking gangster rap group NWA, which of course stands for something that we don't want to say when we're white because, white privilege and all that. But NWA is the one and only full-on gangsta rap group that I ever liked, that I have held on to as a favorite. And it, of course, spawned three really memorable careers. Not the least of which is the career of Ice Cube, who has turned himself into a bit of a mogul. O'Shea Jackson was his name before he cubed out, and he was a pretty decent kid. He was interested in architecture and what have you, living in the South Central Los Angeles area, and he wanted to rap. He wanted to perform, and this mid '80s coming together of these performers and artists also included a guy named Andre, now known as Dr. Dre, and this guy is one of the richest people in show business now. And I guess the spark plug when they started out was a guy known as Eazy-E. And one of the interesting things about this really moving and compelling docudrama is that a biopic docudrama is the story of Eazy-E, who has an almost Shakespearean quality to his rise and tragic fall. He's now no longer with us, but Ice Cube is a TV and film performer, kind of a baby mogul. He's still performing live as a rapper. And Dr. Dre, the linchpin of Beats Music, which became a part of Apple Music recently, very, very wealthy. But to see these guys starting out and see how they had to struggle and the circumstances where they lived and how brutal they were, even for decent kids, is to understand a little more about why NWA was so important. And again, what they said back in the day is true. They were just reporters. They were kind of dropping the word like troubadours or oral historians about life in Compton, California, and that region. I just thought the film was fantastic. F. Gary Gray was the director. In the third act, maybe things falter a little bit because you've seen where they've gotten to at the height of their career. You have Paul Giamatti as the white businessman who helped launch them. And actually, one of the more interesting aspects of this film, written by Jonathan Herman and Andrea Berloff, is the performance of the guy who played basically Suge Knight. And to see Suge Knight as the black equivalent on the businessman front of the Paul Giamatti character. He played Jerry Heller. Pretty fantastic. You can't trust those businessmen is the message that I got out of this. Anyway, fine performance by O'Shea Jackson Jr., who seems to have a bit of a genetic advantage because he's the actual son of Ice Cube. Corey Hawkins as Dr. Dre. And Jason Mitchell gives the performance of the film. Will break your heart as Eazy-E. So definitely big thumbs up from me for Straight Outta Compton. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Was one of my favorite TV shows growing up. I always loved the espionage movies. I've always loved the James Bond films and what have you. I read the James Bond novels as a pubescent, and maybe they kind of twisted my mind a little bit. But Ian Fleming, who wrote the James Bond novels, decided that it would be really great to do a TV show. So he got together with some Hollywood types, and they developed The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And then he sort of eventually was pushed into the background there. But obviously, the idea of an international spy slash police force black ops unit called U.N.C.L.E. that brought together various agents from different countries to work for the common good was kind of a cool idea. And I always thought the show was cute. They always had some kind of innocent drawn into their exciting circumstances. That was one of the kind of hallmarks of the show. And the idea of making a movie of this thing is a typical one at this point in time, because unless a project has gotten that proof of concept, as long as it's already been out there, Hollywood will make a movie about it. That's why we got things like the Addams Family movie and Battleship and what have you. All right, so The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is directed by Guy Ritchie, a.k.a. the former Mrs. Madonna, and he knows how to handle an action film, and that's fine. Napoleon Solo, originally Roger Vaughn in the TV show, played by Henry Cavill, who is now also Clark Kent / Superman at Warner Brothers, and we get Armie Hammer as Ilya Kuryakin, the Russian agent who teams with the ne'er-do-well suave American Solo against his will. So it's kind of an origin story, and Alicia Vikander, so good in the recent movie Ex Machina as the robot girl, plays kind of the seeming innocent caught up in their struggles, and they go against the usual megalomaniacal lunatics who want to rule the world. The action sequences are fine. It's fun. It's popcorn. It's a popcorn movie, plain and simple. I wish it had been a little better. I wish I didn't feel at the very end like, why'd they call it The Man from U.N.C.L.E. since it's all these other guys, and U.N.C.L.E. doesn't even exist in our minds. But I will also point out a very smart piece of casting. Hugh Grant as the guy in charge of U.N.C.L.E., Alexander Waverly. I kind of thought that was smart casting. Small roles for Jared Harris, and actually I think there's even an actress I'm not that familiar with, Elizabeth Debicki, who plays kind of the villainess. It's fun, but it's a popcorn movie, and it's not going to be mentioned in the awards coming up at the end of the year. Still, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., you could waste your time worse ways. Mistress America is actually a very cool film, a good little film, one of my favorite films to date from the director-writer Noah Baumbach, and it's basically about this madcap Manhattanite named Brooke and her stepsister-to-be, Tracy, played by Greta Gerwig, Queen of the Indies these days, took the mantle, I think, from Parker Posey, and she co-wrote the script. And this character, Brooke, is going to show her stepsister to be around New York. She's been lonely and unhappy. She's in college. She's miserable, but the wacky stepsister to be, et cetera. So the cool thing about Tracy is she's played by Lola Kirk, who is the female lead in Mozart in the Jungle. And this is kind of a cool showplace for her. It's a showcase and a showpiece, and both women are pretty fantastic. And I really enjoyed it. It's light, it's fun, and I just thought the charm is the issue here. And a witty film, Mistress America, and one with a little poignance here and there. People aren't always how they present themselves. They're not always what they seem. Good supporting work from a bunch of actors who are familiar faces in indie films, but not big names. And again, Noah Baumbach knows how to handle this stuff. It's funny, it's sweet, it's bittersweet. And I think Mistress America is a lot of fun, and it will translate very well to video. Finally, let's mention People, Places, Things, which is the work of writer-director Jim Strauss. And what it's basically going to do, if you go see it, is give you an introduction to Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords as a lead actor in a feature film. He was part of the very funny ensemble in the vampire fake not documentary about the vampires came out fairly recently. We belong to the night, what the night becomes. I can't even remember the title right now, but I have to say that this is a very cute little film. He plays a New York City-based graphic novelist, a professor, a husband, and the father of twin 5-year-old girls who is forced by circumstance into single parenthood when he has a problem with something his wife does. And he also has to leap into the dating pool. And they team him in this film with Regina Hall as a fellow teacher, and that woman's daughter is in one of his classes. And Jermaine Clement actually carries the film. It's pretty wonderful. And his relationship with Regina Hall's character is very palpable and very sweet. And, they've got to deal with kind of trying to get together when both of them have been burned in the past. And what I was surprised about was that this very unconventional leading man managed to hold it together and even, kind of moved me. I believed the film. So People, Places, and Things, also good and also very, very easy to enjoy on video at home, not to chase you away from the movie theaters. Seen anything lately? What do you got in TV? What's up?
No, but the only thing I would say is I take back every nice thing I've said about Mr. Robot. It is really turned into drivel. It just has lost its focus.
I'm a couple weeks behind, actually.
I think it's just gotten, they're too much with a whole bunch of other scenarios, and it's just not holding my attention any longer.
Well, I'm going to try to get to it. It's on the.
Apparently it's not getting your attention either. Otherwise, you would have been there to see the next episode.
Come on, I'm busy. I have things to do. I have movies to sit through and endure. There's a whole lot more we don't even talk about that I have to suffer through. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. Anything else we're excited about?
Not that I can say. Nothing that I've watched recently. I mean, I love The Strain. I just think it's one of the best things on television right now. And
wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's terrific. Guillermo del Toro, you can feel, even though it's a TV show and he produced it, and sometimes they produce it and then they walk away from it and let other people do it, you feel his hand is on it, and it's a wonderful show. It's really a wonderful show. Not your typical vampire thing.
I feel sometimes like I don't have the time to see everything I want to see, and I've been waiting on the first season of The Strain. But at your recommendation, I will give it a shot, I am going to plow forward on Mr. Robot, come hell or high water.
I'd just dump Mr. Robot and start watching The Strain if I were you.
And what about hate watching? Like me and Falling Skies and Under the Dome. I actually hate watch both of those shows. They're so bad.
I tried to hate watch Under the Dome, and this year I got about 1-2 episodes, and I flamed out. Just flamed out. Exton's still okay. It's all these Spielberg shows, by the way. He's got like about 3 or 4 shows on right now.
They are all completely preposterous.
Well, the Whispers is kind of good. I kind of like the Whispers.
Well, it will be until E.T. makes a cameo. Then we'll see.
Are you familiar with the Whispers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But it's like Spielberg just wants to see how many summer shows he can have on the air at one time.
I do feel like when I'm watching Under the Dome that I am trapped under a dome and there's no escape.
Yeah,
oh my God!
I feel hermetically sealed in the show. Yeah, it's not. It had 1 season in it, and that was it. When they sliced the cow in half in the first episode, that's about all you needed to see.
Really, that is the money shot, and you get it at the very beginning of every episode. Like, see what we did? Come on, still watch. Yeah. If it wasn't for Rachel Lefebvre, I would not watch. Right. I know that's a. Right.
Well, anyway, we got to go. Tell them where they can find you.
On Twitter, I'm at Culture Blaster, and you can tune into this segment and other segments we've done, plus articles and stuff at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast on Facebook. Like it, tune in.
And you're also on our Roku channel as well. So,
proud to be there.
Anyway, thank you, Michael. Have a nice week. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, you got it.
Bye-bye. I'm Alex Bennett. There's more Gabnet coming right up.